back in the day, did we not? Yeah. Come on, you old fogies, we had good music back in the day.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah! Oh, God, I sound like my parents. Okay. Oh, wow. Good morning. I want to add my welcome. I'm Reverend Dr. Suzi Schadle, and I am a minister here at Suncoast Center for Spiritual Living, so welcome, welcome. I do want to welcome a couple of special guests. My dear friend, Reverend Liz Moranti, and her husband, Steve Kurtz, are visiting from Monterey, California. Reverend Liz and I went to ministerial school together, graduated together, agonized together, you name it. So we're doing a fundraiser after service. For $5, Liz will tell you some sort of embarrassing or funny thing about me, and all of the funds then will go to getting a new minister who is less embarrassing than I. So yeah, she's got all the scoop. So yeah, trust me, it's worth at least $5. Yeah, quick take notes. So welcome, welcome. And I also would ask, I know that I've heard from a lot of people this week, a number of people for whatever reason are traveling, they're on the road, so I would ask that we all be in prayer that they have safe travels and fun travels, and let's just know that our community extends on the highways and byways, and they're with us and we're with them. So this month, or actually this year, Centers for Spiritual Living is focusing on the idea of values-based spiritual living. And the values we've been focusing on in the month of February are diversity and inclusivity, and specifically here at Suncoast, the unity that embraces diversity. And we know that spirit expresses itself as wholeness and oneness and unity through that very diversity and inclusivity and love. And after all, this is February. This is the love month. We cannot get finished with this month without talking about love. And frankly, how can you ever even get close to diversity or inclusivity without talking about love? Love is the opening door, truly. And some little tidbits and facts that you can use at your next cocktail party so that people go, wow, you're really cool. Love is the most Googled word on the internet.
Really?
Isn't that something? Most Googled word on the internet. You'd think we'd know a thing or two about love, but some of the things we know are kind of funky. So, it is our greatest quest. The quest for love is one of our greatest quests in life. And each of us has sort of this love-seeking search engine within us, which is why it's the most Googled word on the internet. We're still seeking it, even sometimes when we have it. And the fact is, the reality is, the highest truth is, we do have it. We are it. And yet we still seek it. Because we don't have the sense of being full of love. And we get distracted because our culture sort of entices us to nurture our quest for love in all the outside places. We're looking outside of ourselves all the time for love, thinking, oh, if I just get this one to love me, my life will be okay. I'll be okay if this one loves me, if this one likes me, then I'll be so much better off, and then maybe some other people will love and like me too. It's Oscar Sunday also, so we see in the movies that quest for love, or that fantasy kind of love outside of ourselves in the movies. We'll see some folks walk away with Oscars for drawing us into that fantasy, in fact. And we kind of like being there because it means we don't have to be in the place where we have to actually be totally present to the love that already exists within us, or to be the presence of love. We can be in a fantasy instead. We can be in somebody else's fantasy. We also see it in popular love songs. You know the ones from the CMAs, from the Country Music Awards. Looking for love in all the wrong places. You know that one, right? You've been there, you've sung it, you've looked for it, right? You've lived it, yes. Anyone who has not been there, please see me after school because I would like to stand next to you. So the true quest is not seeking for love, but seeking to be the love that we are, and to be the fullest expression of it that we can possibly be. Rumi, Rumi, how could we ever have lived without Rumi? I mean, seriously, Rumi says, Your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. I love you. Stay away. You know, I mean, we say we want it, but we're afraid to actually give ourselves over to it sometimes. And so we create some safety walls, we think. But you know what? The walls may keep the hurt out, but it also keeps the love from getting in or from getting out from you. And so we would be wiser to listen to Rumi and to nurture that pure, mature, unconditional, agape spiritual love. That love that just is the presence of Spirit itself, that is the presence of all goodness. It's within us already. It's just waiting for us to release and express it. It's there. It's, you know, it's like the old drugstore joke. You call them, you got Sir Walter rolling in the can? Yes, let him out. Same thing. It's the same thing with love. You got love in your heart? Yes, you do. Let it out. Let it out. Take off the lid. Let it rip. And when we do that, it overflows from us from a place of sufficiency and joy and wholeness and the fullness of our own being, the fullness of our authenticity, which is to be an individualized expression of the one Spirit. If we let that out, we can't help but be the loving presence of Spirit itself. And we draw that back to us. You know, it flows from our desire to give love and to connect with other people, to include other people who are different from ourselves, to really include all of that and to awaken that presence of love in another person. You know, when you love someone, when you express love, it draws out the best from them. It draws out the loving presence that they are, that maybe has been locked away as a prisoner within their own experience. So you're not just doing yourself a favor, you're helping someone else, you're helping the world. We're changing the world as we do it. You know, we realize that love is God calling to God. You know, Sarah and I do this every Sunday. Namaste. Right, Sarah?
Yes,
ma'am. Yes.
Hey.
She knows you need a thing or two about love and God calling to God. Go see Sarah. Namaste.
No, I'm sorry.
Right on cue. No, so from that connection with the oneness of Spirit, the beloved, Spirit is the beloved. Think of that. Think of all whom you meet as the beloved Spirit. And then we expand that love that we feel from the beloved Spirit to one another. Wow. Imagine a world where we saw each other as the beloved. It reminds me that, I can't remember who does that song, but what if God was one of us? What if we walked around every day thinking, what if God was one of us? Well, I got a newsflash for you. God is one of us. God is all of us. God is the one of us. So when you meet people, and this is the hard part, it's hard for me. That's why I'm still here. I'm still working on this. And you know, when I get it, I'm poofing into the ethers, man. And then you throw a party because you go, wow, she got it. But in the meantime, I'm still working on God is all of us, including the people that drive me crazy. That is a tough one. I think we're all going to be here for a while. Working on that, right? But it's there. But sometimes we've got to drill deep to tap into that in the other person, and most especially in ourselves. Love. So that we can include the diversity of even those who irritate the crap out of us. You know, sometimes I was convinced my mother was put on this earth to drive me crazy. As it turns out, that was not true at all. It might have been the other way around. I was put on this earth to drive me. Actually, we did a pretty good job on each other. And look at me now. I survived the experience. Not only that, I came through it with flying colors. So, you know, people are put on this earth for us to encounter so that we might find a more magnificent place within ourselves that we can express. Even though those irritants, you know, I mean, think of a pearl. You know, the magnificence of a pearl comes from the irritation from a little piece of sand, a little grain of sand in the oyster. And it makes this wonderful, fabulous thing. So just think of those people that are irritating you as that grain of sand that's turning you into a pearl of great wisdom. Wow. Puts a different spin on it, right? Now, all the major spiritual traditions teach this too. They teach us to love one another. In the Judeo-Christian teachings, we hear from Matthew and Mark, God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. And from John, love one another as I have loved you. And from Matthew, love your enemies. There it is again, love your enemies. And from the Eastern religions, from Hinduism and Buddhism, there's a call for an all-encompassing love. Gandhi said, love your neighbor as yourself. Every living being is your neighbor. Yeah, wow, how cool is that, right? Every living being is your neighbor. There's a lot of love to go around, my friends. A lot of love happening. So start nurturing that love by cultivating the love that is within you. It's already there. Cultivate that so that it can bloom fully and be fully expressed. And start, my grandmother will spin in her grave at this point, start by loving yourself. She would think that was highly selfish, but you know what? We're a good person to practice on. Practice loving yourself because it will enhance and expand your capacity to love one another. If you can't love yourself, it's going to be really hard to love somebody else. Or to even accept love from someone else. Love yourself. So I'm going to give you an assignment, and I really want you to do it, you guys. I'm going to check in on, sometimes when I get homework, I'm not so sure you're doing it. So do this one, because it's a really good, fun one. So here's your assignment for the week. I want you to stand up, when you get ready to go start your day, before you go out the door, I want you to stand in the mirror. I want you to look yourself in the mirror. Look into your eyes. Look deep into your eyes and into your soul. And say out loud to yourself, Suzi, I love you. Well, I would appreciate that. Actually, you substitute my name for your name. You know what I'm saying? Put your name in there. And stand there. And you can throw me in there too if you like. I would appreciate it. So you stand there and you say, Suzi, I love you. I really mean it. Look into your soul and really mean it so that when you go out the door, that's how you're going out. You're going out full of love. You got more to give. You're overflowing with the presence of love so that you can be the giver of love. Make that a daily practice. It's kind of exemplified in I'm going to read a poem to you that is one of my favorites from Derek Walcott. It's called Love After Love. And think of this as you do that practice. The time will come when with elation you will greet yourself arriving at your own door, in your own mirror, and each will smile at the other's welcome and say, sit here, eat. You will love again the stranger who was yourself. Give wine, give bread, give back your heart to itself, to the stranger who has loved you all your life, whom you ignored for another, who knows you by heart. Sit, feast on your life. Stand in the mirror and feel that and say, I love you. I love you. And you can't help but walk out the door, God, that gave me chills, then being the presence of love. Are you with me? Will you do that for me? Because I'll tell next week, I'll be able to tell. I will see. And I'll have my red pen ready. You get an A. When we do that kind of work, that inner work for ourselves, it puts us in the position to transform the world by transforming ourselves. And by transformation, transforming ourselves, not transforming ourselves into somebody else, but transforming ourselves into who we truly are. To give up the roles and the playing, but to really give ourselves over to who we truly and authentically are. Jean Houston wrote this: love is the doorway through which the human soul passes from selfishness to service and from solitude to kinship with all humankind. But it starts within us and then moves outward in ever-widening circles of inclusion. The reason that inner work is so important, the reason I say start with yourself, is because we see the world not as it is, but as we are. If we see it through the eyes of love, we'll see a loving world. Because our thoughts and feelings, all the thoughts and feelings that we entertain and invite in our hearts and minds, dominate and direct our lives. They become who we are. We fuse with the emotions and the words that we use. We become those emotions and those words. We become the expression of them. So if we feel inwardly or see inwardly fear and anger and hate, what we will see and experience is a hostile world outside of us. If we feel and see love and compassion and joy within, we see a friendly world because love breeds love. You know, in exponential ways. Love and compassion and joy. Nurture that. Nurture that. Cultivate love and compassion. You know, literally, you know, we think it's just a feeling thing. It's also a thinking thing. Think about feeling and nurturing love and compassion. Remind yourself to do that. You know, because sometimes we get into a bad habit and we just forget. You know, I know when I try to, I tell myself I'm going to do some healthy eating. Okay, I'm not eating fried foods and sugar and blah, 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 as I bite into a piece of fried chicken. Oh yeah, I forgot. You know? So sometimes I forgot. I'm looking through the eyes of love at even this person that, wow, is really hard for me to stand next to. I forget unless I engage both my mind and my heart, my whole being, to change that behavior. And as we do that, then love awakens us to the divine presence everywhere and in everyone, as we remind ourselves and nurture that love and compassion. And it enables us to embrace all, to include all. It helps us to increase our gratitude and our generosity, our gratitude for the blessings in the world, and to be generous enough to be a blessing as well. It invites us to give what it is that we seek, to give and to be what it is that we seek to receive, and creates almost a magnetic force that pulls what we give right back to us, multiply. St. Francis said, "Grant that I may not so much seek to be loved as to love, for it is in giving that I receive." Pretty simple. It's not always easy, but it's simple. You know, be the presence of love that you are. Allow it to escape from within you, outward. Be love. Heart opening, separation healing, inclusion initiating, love. It's the source of creativity and vitality and energy. You'll be magnificent if you allow the love out. That boundless love overflows and expresses itself in the world in really wonderful and amazing ways if we let it be so. The love within us allows us to see one another, to see the world with the eyes of God, with the eyes of Spirit, so that we're seeing differently. And when we see that way, we see that there is only good, there's only God, there is only love. And then we get to experience it, because that's all we see, it's all we expect, and so that's what we get. Love brings forth the highest and the best in me, in you, in everyone that we express that love around. And they begin to express it back to us. And then, wow, it just starts to multiply. Love binds the entire human family together into a whole universe. Universe, one verse. We're all singing together. A divine harmony, an interconnected wholeness, a web of inclusion, one unity. To be the presence of love is to give of ourselves, to give what it is that we are the blessing of, to be the blessing to others and to the world. And in blessing the world, we transform it, and we are blessed by it. It's a circular equation. Teilhard de Chardin wrote, "The day will come when after harnessing the space, the winds, the tides, and gravity, we shall harness for God the energies of love. And on that day, for the second time in the history of the world, we shall have discovered fire." Indeed, we shall have discovered fire. So be the fire of love. Be passionate. Be the fire of love. The love that includes and weaves the diversity of all of us into the unity of the one of us. Be that love. Be that love. And imagine the world all being that. I would like to live in that world before I leave this space. So could you grant me that wish? Please, get busy. I want to give you an example. I'm going to tell you a little story here. I love this story. You've probably heard this one. She lived in Japan, so you probably lived this story. You know, as I mentioned earlier, most of the spiritual traditions teach that love is the single most potent force in the universe. And so this is a true story from Japan that illustrates that point. A Japanese man began tearing open the walls to renovate his house. And so he opened one of the walls and he found a little lizard with a nail hammered into its foot. The lizard was still alive. He discovered that the nail was from when the house was built 10 years earlier. But there's a little lizard with a nail in it. I was going to say paw. It's not a paw, but you know, hand. Foot. Yeah, foot. And yet here he's still alive 10 years later. So with its foot nailed in place within the wall, how had the lizard survived for 10 years? It seemed absolutely impossible, right? So he started looking for clues, and so then the man observed the lizard to see what it did while it was stuck there helpless. And so he watched and he watched, and the man was amazed and was deeply touched at what he saw because another little lizard appeared with food in its mouth. Apparently the other lizard had been feeding the stuck lizard for the past 10 years. Such caring and unconditional love is powerfully demonstrated between those two little tiny creatures. And we might ask, what can the power of love do? Love can produce miracles. That's what the power of love can do. So just think, that one little lizard had untiringly been feeding the other lizard for 10 years without giving up hope or without abandoning his commitment to the other lizard. If a small creature like a little lizard, and we have plenty of them here, right? So we have plenty of examples. That small little lizard can love like this. Just imagine what a web of inclusion that we could weave, what web of unity, what web of love that we could weave with this profound power of love if we're willing to express it and be the presence of that love and to truly love one another. Come on, guys, if a lizard can do it, imagine what's possible for us. I want to share a quote that Susan brought me this morning. So I must have been putting some vibes out or whatever. She comes in, oh, I wanted to share this with you, just out of the blue. And I went, oh my gosh. And it happens to be from someone that I dearly love, Parker Palmer. He and I are best friends. He doesn't know it, but we are best friends. He says this, he says, after the first flush of romance, community is less like a garden and more like a crucible. One stays in the crucible only if one is committed to being refined by fire. So, we talk about community and connection and all the possibility and the wonderful things that we can be about here, but it requires something of us. It requires commitment. And Gloria and I were speaking this morning, and commitment, we're talking about the kind of commitment that requires an inner resilience in order to support that commitment. And if we want to be here, to remain here so that we can partake of what it is that we have to offer one another, we have to be committed. But if we want to be committed enough that this remains after we're gone, that we create something that outlives us, that is here for those who follow, it requires a commitment with an inner resilience that is powerful, with the power of love and caring and commitment that we saw in the little lizard. One of my mentors, Mary Mann Morrissey, said, New Thought communities tend to be really great orchard pickers, but not such great orchard tenders. But I got a newsflash for you, you're not going to have anything to pick if we don't tend first. And I'd love to prove Mary wrong. I love her dearly, but I would love to prove her wrong on this one. I would love for us to bring that level of commitment, that level of resilience, that we deepen, expand this community such that it exists long after we're gone for those who shall follow. That we're not here just for ourselves so that we can get the goodies and move on, but that we're here to create something that is powerful in this world and leave something for those who follow. I would love to see that kind of commitment, and it requires the commitment and the resilience to bring our whole person to it. Our time, our talent, our treasure, every resource that we have available to us, and to cultivate the resources we don't. And as I've said before, I truly believe that now is our time, my friends. We were created for this moment to bring forth a world that is vastly different than the one we see in the headlines right now. That is an illusion unless we believe in it. Let's believe in the truth of love and light and oneness and wholeness and unity and diversity and inclusivity. Let's bring that world forth. It's here waiting to be expressed, and now's the time. So are you with me? Are you with me on that? Can we be that? It's not about this little group of us in this room. We can do this in somebody's living room in our pajamas. I'm talking about let's deepen and expand and blossom in such a way that the roots are deep and the branches are high and wide, and we can invite all the people who have an interest in living in a world of love and light and positive differences. I'd like to think I'm not the only one who thinks that's an important thing. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's be that. You know, if a lizard can do it, come on. And if we need some help, let's go get some of those lizards. They're all over the place. They can be our mentors. I want each of you to so you're going to do your mirror work, and you're going to get a lizard mentor this week, right? Okay, good. Because if we can fully engage in the love that is within us and be the full presence of that love, be the full expression of that love, there's enormous power and presence in that. So please practice that, be that. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King said this. He taught that love is not the answer, even though the song says so, or the song we're going to do says so. Love is not the answer. Love is the assignment. That's your assignment. In the mirror, with the lizard, with the person who drives you crazy. You know, here's an idea. That person who irritates you, invite him here. Yeah. Invite him here on a Sunday, and let's see if maybe something doesn't change. It's one small step. So blessings on your journey into the unity that embraces diversity. Begin by loving one another, please. So it is.